What's up YouTube, this is Fate, bringing you another deck profile, and today I'm going to be showing you a very special updated version of my Dragunity Harpies. Now recently I've been doing a little bit more testing with this deck and started realizing how fast this deck is getting ever since I decided to combine the two archetypes. It seems to be flowing a little bit easier, and it's even going up against some of the top decks of the meta, minus Cosmos at the moment, but still working on that. But it's able to somewhat keep up with Pepes, keep up with Magicians, and realizing how fast this deck truly is, I decided to give it the tournament upgrade that it needed. So without further ado, let's take a look and see how well this has come along. For the initial starting lineup, I've got triple Dragunity Dux, triple Dragunity Phalanx, and double Dragunity Arma Mystletainn, the same 8 that started out the last deck profile, and the same 8 that, man, I just love their combos and plays for days. And one entry into the main deck, Dragunity Arma Leyvaten, and I severely underestimated how good this card was, how good this card is, and why I hadn't... I'm just not sure why I've been using this guy. Because I started to do research online on different combos with Leyvaten and Dragunities and all that. And to be able to give this deck some rank 8 power overall, as well as have a surprise 2600 attacker on the board at any time I would want, he is definitely a welcomed addition to this lineup. On to the Harpie engine, we've now cut down to 2 Harpie Harpist. Considering how much faster the game has picked up, I really did not feel like 3 was optimal for this deck anymore. So I ended up cutting this down to 2, and with how fast the game runs now, more than likely you're only going to see 2 of the searches for the long run anyway. So I figure cut down on the searching a little bit, still keep it present, but at the same time keep the speed more consistent and a little bit quicker. And for that reason, we do still run the triple Harpie Channeler for the special summon rank 4 plays and surprise Dragunity OTK plays. Triple Harpie Dancer to fuel some of those plays, as well as combo off with Divine Wind of Mist Valley and your Harpie Hunting Ground. And 1 Harpie Queen. And Harpie Queen is pretty much the same reason as Harpie Harpist. You want to get to more of your defensive / offensive pieces a little quicker. And you want to really keep up the speed of this build, so 1 is very good, and it's good to have just 1 of these to keep your top deck plays alive for you when you need it for the surprise Harpie Hunting Ground and whatnot. And for your two supporting role cards, we've got 1 Blackwing-Zephyros The Elite, and 1 Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. That's it for the monsters. On to the spells. We still played the triple threat for Terraforming, and the 3 different field cards they go into in double Dragon Ravine, double Harpies Hunting Ground, and 1 Divine Wind of Mist Valley. Now for this deck, even though I talked about a little bit on speed and such, I'm still hesitant to put cards like Chicken Game and Upstart Goblin in this build. Mainly because I don't like the whole grant you zap your deck size down to 37 and then 34. I don't know, it's something about the flow of it. I don't like the added chance where you have all of these search cards in the meantime, and it just gets you to your combo pieces when you need them at that time. That, and to have the other slots taken up by other combo pieces such as Divine Wind, Harpie's Hunting Ground, and that, you're able to maneuver your way out of scenarios a lot easier rather than just kind of tunnel visioning or giving yourself a tunnel vision on the singular combo that you're going for. So that's why I like the 3 options for the different field cards and not just 1, and so far it has worked extremely well, especially against pendulum matchups, where you can just nuke Harpie's Hunting Ground, switch out to Divine Wind of Mist Valley, and then just combo from there because Harpie Dancer is a beast like that, and she sets up those combos for the build. For the remaining support spells, we run double Dragunity Divine Lance. It's a really good spell card, but considering the Dragunity engine and the Harpie engine mixed together, it's best to keep it around at 2 otherwise it does get cloggy. Double Forbidden Lance. Even though targeting, it's a lot harder to target in this game now. This is not mainly for your opponent's monsters, rather than to protect your own. Because the one thing I've noticed while going up against other builds, once they hone in that cards like Harpie Channeler, Harpie Dancer, and Dragunity Dux are your main go-to combo pieces to just completely stunt your initial normal summon and then just have yourself pass turn. You really want to keep those guys alive, so that's what the Double Forbidden Lance is there for. Just keep those combos going and alive as much as possible. And the one Raigeki. That's it for the spells. Onto the traps. I decided to main deck 2 anti-spell fragrances. And I actually like this move for this build. Mainly because, granted, in later parts of the game, anti-spell fragrance does tend to slow you down a little bit. However, the way this deck sets up, most of the time, most of your combo pieces will be in your hand turn 1 for how you want to combat. And then after you set up your initial field, anti-spell fragrance is there waiting to play. It completely stunts and slows your opponent down for at least a turn, especially if you're up against Pepe. They can't set their pendulum zones. As far as Twin Twister goes, they still need to wait a turn. And once you have that one turn, that's your opportunity to strike. An anti-spell fragrance main deck definitely provides you that opportunity. And speaking of strikes, I pulled them. I have to use them. Double Solemn Strike, and against those Pepe decks, those Cosmos decks, those Magic Spectre decks, those whatever decks, this definitely provides a lost defensive piece that this deck very much needed to combat against those decks for the long haul. And then I still run my triple threat traps on originally run with this in Solemn Warning, Bottomless Trap Hole, and Vanity's Emptiness, because MVP 3 right here. That's it for the main deck. Onto the extra deck. We still run the triple Dragunity Vajrayana and the one Dragunity Night Guide Urge. Really standard level 6 setup for the Dragunity deck. I ended up cutting Goyle Guardian for another level 8 Synchro Monster, which you'll see in a moment. Mainly because, and this goes to it being more of a pendulum format slash graveyard reactive format. Cosmos, they could just get themselves out of the way. Pendulums, they don't go to the graveyard. Goyle just is turned into the no effect 2800 beater. And it really speaks volumes for how far that Synchro Monster has fallen, because usually he would control games in the older formats. Now, he slows down your plays, and that's something you just cannot have in this format today. So, the 4 right here is more than enough. And then for the level 8s, still run the double protectors of the Stardust Brothers right there, as I'll call them right there. One Scrap Dragon. And if you saw that deck profile at the locals, saw this coming, thank you, Mike. Sideframe Lord Omega is definitely a good way to control some of the moves that your opponent does. And being it is a reactive 2800 attacker other than Goyle Guardian from the level 6 side, this guy can keep you in fights. Granted, if he's the only monster on your side of the field, you will absorb direct hits, but the ability to stunt your opponent's combos from their hand, and say your Rise Dark Spell banished the guy that you didn't want to have banished at the time, Omega can just reload that back and rekindle some combos that you would have lost before with the other version. That's it for the synchro part of it. Onto the Exceeds, we still run double Heroic King of Fatum. Very much needed, especially now more than ever since you run the rank 8 engine of the build. And it's just a really awesome facilitator of those dragon combos that you had before. One M7 for the field clear slash combo creator from the graveyard. And one Divine Dragon Knight Felgrand. One of my favorite monsters in the game. This guy is still the walking tank that he is. Granted, Ignister still powers over him here and there with that pesky, stupid 50 attack over him. However, with against most of the defenses in the build, the Raigekis, the stunting opponent's monster effects when they're normal or special summoned, Vilgrand, he has still remained awesome till this day to stop whatever he wants. And on to the rank 4s, we decided to come out Gemini Pearl for Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon. Why did this unchanged? Because my normal reasoning before on Gemini Pearl just laughs at cards like Fiendish Chain and that. None of the top builds are really playing Fiendish Chain anymore. You just don't run into that. So what I ended up doing is end up going for this guy because he does still have the ability to power over some monsters when you need to. And I need that a lot more to combat against the higher attack monsters rather than to just prep for one card with an extra deck slot. One Honor Arc since he's Honor Arc. And one Lightning Chidori because you run plenty of wind level 4s. And this card definitely steals games when it wants to. And what I mean by that is say your opponent is top decking, they manage to blow out their own field trying to stunt you a little bit. Lightning Chidori, if it gets a hold of that face-up card to return to the top of their deck that they don't want returned to the top of their deck, you essentially give your opponent a -1 turn, and that's... I just have to say, it's already won me games in the past just because Chidori controls what they draw, and it is sweet when you come back and steal victory away from them because of that draw. And with that, that is my Dragunity Harpie deck profile. Hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, comment, rate, and subscribe. And until next time.